ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network, watching us on Broadway World, or you are looking at us on social media or YouTube, wherever you are watching us and listening. We so appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. The other day, my friend Jonathan DeMar at 54 Below, and he said, you know, there's this show that I'm producing that is up your alley that you're going to love. It's called Clowns Like Me. And if Jonathan DeMar says it's good with his 68 Tony Awards that he just won, then you know that it's going to be good. And living in the space of art and education, and especially trying to make art that is inclusive of all people and tells personal stories that we all can relate to. I read about this show and I was so very, very excited. Clowns Like Me is coming to New York City. Welcome, directors, stars, writers, the whole Scott and Jason. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Robert. So happy to be here.
Yep.
While we're here, I want people to know that you can get your tickets and see the show June 21st through August 18th.
Correct.
At the DLT Theater. How did this show come about? Tell us, how did it happen?
Go for it, Scotty.
This show happened from my dad. The genesis of it was he had a seed of an idea, and that was about telling my own story. He really embraced me as an actor, been supportive of me as an actor, and I wasn't ready. This was like many years ago. Then he brought it up again, and I was ready, and when he got to work. We ran into Jason. He was just finishing a 10-year run at a professional theater company, and he was recommended by two men that were his playwriting students. So then what happened after meeting with Jason, we had, like to call it, jam sessions, where we were two musicians just playing music. Jason was probing, ripping me wide open, asking really thoughtful, intelligent questions to get content, to get stories from me that he could form into a play. So we jammed for several months, almost felt like a year.
8 months.
8 months, yeah. And Jason then took all that, went into his bat cave, and came up, my dad and I didn't know how to write a play. And what really called Jason to this, he thought he was just going to be a script doctor. Easy peasy, word punch up, that's it. But he heard what my dad and I wanted to do, and it spoke to him on a deep level of authentic storytelling. So after the jam sessions, Jason read it for my parents and I, and we loved it. We were like, this is show ready. And Jason's like, no, I need feedback. So anyway, to make a long story short, we had 5 developmental readings, which went over like gangbusters. And we had the world premiere in May of 2023. And if anybody doesn't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And to sold out audiences and rave reviews, then it was brought back in popular demand in August of 2023. We just had a 5-show limited engagement in May, and it's been a little over 2 years, and we went from Sarasota to now off Broadway.
I'm speechless. By the whole, you won all sorts of awards in Sarasota. I see you won awards in Sarasota, but Scott,
Yes.
You told your story, like this idea to tell your story, to make a play, to get it to Jason, to go to Florida, to do 5 shows. You're coming to New York City, and it's, there are millions and thousands of plays and musicals and things that get tried to put up. What was it like when you found out this was happening? Like this was coming to New York?
Great question. It was surreal. It was like, no, this couldn't happen. Things like this do not happen this quickly. It was just a shock to the solar system. And I remember my dad and mom teased me. They said, we're going out with a couple, a good couple friend. And I walk into their condo and all these people are here. I'm like, what's going on? And there was a banner hanging, and I just broke down crying because I was overflooded. I was like, this is not happening. No. It was like I did a double take. And here we are. My dad, I have to give him a lot of credit. He's tenacious, ambitious, relentless, and he just was such a driving force. And coupled with Jason's brilliant canon magic, as I like to call it, just being able to tell my rough and tumble story in such a truthful way that's got heart, humor, and it's. Jason reminded me, and I'll just end on here so he can take the reins from here. I love being the audience's therapist for the night. It's like we're at a campfire, and I'm going to tell you some freaking awesome stories, and here we are.
Well, a ticket to see your show is way less than my therapist charges me every single week. So
that is a great marketing line, Robert.
Jason, what about this story spoke to you that writing something, being on a journey, it is a long, arduous process. So it's not like it's just, hey, we spent a weekend together. This is years of life. So what about the story hooked you that you needed to be along for the ride?
You know, what's interesting, Robert, is I'd been doing professional theater as actor, director, playwright for 25 years, and had just left a full-time theater position to pursue, as a lot of people did during lockdown. You kind of did some reflection, and I realized I'd been doing so many shows for so long, and it was time for me to decide the shows I wanted to do. I wanted to invest in shows that had, I mean, entertainment always comes first, but I wanted to get back to why I got into theater in the first place, because it transformed me as I watched it growing up. And when I heard Scotty's story, even though it is very, very specific, and it's so honed in on these different mental illnesses and how he struggles with mental health, and to normalize it, and to not feel that shame and that guilt that can be so debilitating. The thing is, even though, and this is acting 101, right? The specificity turns into the universal. I heard so much of my own experience. I'm not neurodivergent, but when Scotty would tell me his stories, I'd be like, man, I felt that, or I get that, or my brother has been through that, or my mom has been, that there's a universality. And there's a zeitgeist moment going on, Robert, with mental health right now. I mean, from the highest level athletes all the way down through, theater's reckoning with itself. And that's what really drew me in, is this can be a really fun, interesting show, and also serve a mission. Every performance, we do a 20-minute talkback. Scotty comes back out, and the audience tells us their stories. It's fascinating. That started out as me asking for feedback during developmental workshop readings, and people wouldn't give me feedback. They'd just tell me their story. Yeah. And so then we're like, well, we just need to do talkbacks at every show. Mm-hmm. Every show, Scott comes out and just jams in with the audience. And the stories that come out are heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. And that's what really drew me in, Robert, to your question, is that there was a mission behind the entertainment here. The lane, I force-fed Scott. I made him watch every Mike Birbiglia special, every Hannah Gadsby special, every Chris Gethard special, every Neil Brennan special. I was like, this is the lane we're aiming for.
Yes.
This kind of very contemporary one-person theater, storytelling, comedy, using trauma and lived experience to weave a spell. That's the lane we've really tried to stay in. And Scotty just does a beautiful job.
Scott, I love this. I love all of those people that you just mentioned. All of their work has been brilliant. We've covered their work. And I love this modern one person telling a story journey, because so many people are able to see themselves through it, like you said. So this is not a spoiler alert. The show is about mental health. The show talks about OCD, bipolar, social anxiety, depression. A lot of, and most people, Scott, will be confused to say, you have these things, but you get on stage in front of an audience every single day, and you are able to perform. Yeah. And I understand it personally, someone who deals with terrible anxiety and can suffer from depression and things like that, but can get up and sing a song and have no problem. How does it live? So how do you describe it?
Well, when I'm on stage, my problems evaporate. I feel invincible. It's my safe space. It's a place where people really see me for me, not what I am, who I am. And I'm going to steal this from a woman that diagnosed me without ever having met me. And Jason even said, I'm taking that. You're not getting credit, but I'm using it. It really jolted me. It jarred me. I'm not disabled. I'm differently abled. And when hearing that, I always am working on taking the dis out of disability. No one is their diagnosis. And through my art form, I'm giving a voice. I'm not here to solve the world's problems. Jason had to remind me, so through my rough and tumbled story, I am the audience's therapist for the night. And it's not what I need, it's what they need. But it's therapy for me because it's therapy for them first. And I just feel I can do no wrong. I'm gliding on water. And Jason, who's been my compadre, my partner in crime, my brother in arms, who really has cared about me deeply. I mean, I just feel so alive and free, where when I don't want to get too like a charity case, but when I'm on stage, I'm a somebody. But when I leave, that's when I feel like a nobody. But I'm still learning to transfer. My mom always told me, Scott, when you're on stage, you command the stage. Transfer that into your life. Be the actor. Don't be fake and false, but carry yourself chest out, proud, walk with purpose. And I'm still in the process of doing that because, you know, we're perfectly imperfect, Robert, and I'm always growing and evolving and trying to be the best version of me, the best authentic self.
Absolutely. Agreed. So much has been written about and spoken about, and theater, as you said, has tried to be all inclusive with autism, with people on this on spectrum, with theater that's been in. I've done interviews with theater companies that have all neurodivergent cast. I've done Broadway shows have put a spotlight on it this year.
Yep.
Jason, when you go, who's this show for? It's not just for people who may be under the same umbrella. It's for everyone.
Yeah, I was as we were starting out and as we were starting to launch the nonprofit, and I was talking with Joel, Scotty's father, who's one of the producers on this. I was very clear with Joel about, look, the low hanging fruit here is the mental health community. They will want to come see themselves, and that's important. But I said to Joel, just as important, yeah, this show is for people who have experience like Scott's. It's important to see yourself on stage. It is also for the people who love and support and work with people who are struggling with mental health this way. Those mental health workers, those family members, they have their own shame and guilt and feelings of powerlessness associated with the people they love, who they feel like it's their fault or I can't help. You know, the number of times I ached to help Scott get out of one of his manic episodes, and the number of times I stubbed my toe by offering unsolicited advice or like dismissing, or there's so much in the show now too about how here's how you actually can help people. Just listen. You said you worked with arts and education. There's so much power in telling your story. So people who suffer themselves, people who love the people who suffer, and then the civilian population who is still on this very steep learning curve about how mental health actually operates. In a way, that's one of the most important audiences that we're trying to reach, because this is a communal effort. We can't put all of the lift onto those who are already just trying to get through the day, right? What's been fascinating these last 2 years, Robert, is I've been on my own journey of learning how to be more patient and open and loving, and it's not about me, right? And I've watched Scott over the last 2 years, to the question you just asked him previously, change as a human from telling his story over and over and hearing how his story is impacting other people, right? And Scotty will tell you he's more grounded now. He has a sense of agency that he didn't have before we started this project. There is such a cathartic power in storytelling, in revealing. I mean, it's Picasso, right? Where theater is the lies that tell the truth.
Yeah.
Right. And that, I think we've tapped into that in a way that is really, really potent. And it's just a joy for us to offer it every night, honestly.
Well, you both are doing the universe's work, because there's going to be a whole bunch of people who come to the show wherever it is done in New York and wherever it goes from here, and they get to see themselves, or they see someone they know, or they understand people, or they just feel humanity. It is just, we don't listen, we don't talk, we don't observe, we don't let people be who they are sometimes. And Scotty, What is it like when you hear people tell their story, or you move people with your story?
It's just wonderful. It's this weird symbiosis. It's this osmosis, this simpatico, that people hear some of them in me, and that connection that I have. And one of my good friends said, this transcends beyond mental illness. I talk about, without giving too much away, loneliness. And that's not a mental illness thing. That's a universal thing that we've all experienced, even having partners or, that's something we all can identify. But I am just so touched by, this urgency, this immediacy of them needing to share, to get it out. Yeah. Jason had to remind me, and I've learned so much from him. We started as colleagues and friends. I am not my diagnosis, and to offer that to other people, to offer, I'm not a prophet, I'm not a Messiah, I'm not a world changer, but to give healing and hope, because nobody's going to come to see come to the theater for me to rant and rave for 75 minutes.
Right.
We go to dark territory, but we earn those rights. But I just feel so touched by that. I am changing the conversation. And when we had Robert, when we had the world premiere back in May of 2023, our videographer Brad Bryan, who's a genius all unto himself, so many people said I hung on to every word from beginning to end, and I'm forever changed. And that's what we're doing. And I am reducing the stigma. I mean, the stigma will always be there. It was never going away. But if I can minimize it, if I can make people, this is me, warts and all, and that's good. And make people feel that, I can, my psychiatrist told me that, there's no cure, but there is control and management. The OCD never goes away, but I have better agency now and better control of it, that I'm able to keep it at bay and catch things at the earliest manifestation, so the ice cream doesn't melt and drip all over the floor. But I just feel so honored to be of service to someone. There's such power in service, the word service, and I love being of service for 75 minutes. And the talkback is still part of the show. I'm not acting, but it's a non-negotiable, and we need that. They need that connection still. So I just feel blessed with the mission that we're on. I never forget that. And Jason also had to remind me. It's like, what's the mission? What do you guys want out of this? I go, I want to educate. And Jason I always say this, Jason's heard it a million times, educate. I go to a freaking boring TED Talk or a lecture. He goes, entertainment is a spoonful of sugar. People come. We're entertaining, Robert, but the byproduct that we're also doing is educating. We didn't plan on doing that. That is what is happening.
I was just going to ask Jason that question. Scott, you teed that up perfectly. Jason, it has deep messages. There's a theme. There's lessons to be had. But you're not giving us a PowerPoint presentation for 75 minutes.
No.
You are giving us a good time. We're going to laugh. We're going to feel.
Yes. No, that was from day one. This is a funny little story, and it's not to make fun of Joel and Scott, but when I got there to meet them for the first time, they had this little monologue they'd written. They're like, we kind of think maybe this. And so I read it, and I was like, guys, this is full of anger. This is full. You're yelling at me. No one wants to pay for a ticket to go sit down and have someone yell at me and tell you you're mean to me. No one wants to do that. So from day one, it was like, how can we make this entertaining? How can we make this entertaining? It has to be entertaining first. So stories, we need funny ones. We need ridiculous ones. We need over the top ones. Then after we've kind of made Scott a likable guy, okay, now you can hit me in the gut. Now you've got me close enough. Now you've earned the right to take me to a hard place, and I trust you. Oh, I didn't mean to thumbs down myself there. I don't know what happened. We'll do this instead. But that's, Robert, it's storytelling 101. You use humor, you use humanity, you use, telling an embarrassing thing about yourself makes you human, and then someone will trust you. They'll take your hand and walk the harder road with you. Mm-hmm. So from day one, it's been like, this has to be a fun time too. Because there's going to be people who we can't change everyone. We can't teach everyone, but we can offer an entertainment every time. And whoever is ready to receive that, beyond that, will receive it. We can't be attached to the outcome.
And Robert,
I do our best.
Yeah, and Robert, we leave a silver lining. And because
this was important too.
Yeah, was and a well-known playwright, Mark St. Germain, Jason had told me when we were going to visit some of his friends in New Jersey that there's too much. You see a Tennessee Williams play, as brilliant as he was, you don't go away feeling good at a Tennessee Williams play. I'm being honest. I'm being frank, and I want the audience. The important thing is they're moved in some way, and we give that hope. Whatever that hope transcends to them is up to them. I'm not responsible for their feelings once they leave the theater, but I know I've taken them on this wild ride, and I say in the play, okay, make no promises, tell no lies, and the only reason I bring that up, Robert, is I can't promise you that I'm going to be fixed or you're going to be fixed, but I'm not going to deceive you or manipulate you of what my lived experience has been, and I'm the honest man.
And you know what? Scott, that's what art's all about. Your experience, you give it to the audience and then they take it and they
Yeah.
do with what they will. And
What
that's
they
what's,
will.
and that's what's so beautiful about it. And while everyone's here, you have until August 18th. It's at the DR2 Theater over there off Broadway, like right smack in the middle of New York City. Is
Mhm.
such a there's not a bad seat in this
Nope.
house.
Oh,
You can get tickets for cheaper than it costs you to park your car. Like
Right.
you so take a friend, take a date, take someone you love, care about family, and make an evening out of it. And I'm sure you're going to be moved, and you're going to have a lot to think about on the ride home. Um, I'm so fascinated by the journey and the story about how this all came to be. It makes you really feel like there's a message. Someone needs this, or we need this. The universe needs this. Humanity needs this. And you telling, and Scott, your bravery, and Jason, yours is going to help a lot of people. So congratulations.
Thank you, Robert.
thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
So where can we get a ticket? Tell us. What can we do?
ClownsLikeMe.com. Everything is the front. It'll land. It'll be a big ticket box right there. Click for tickets.
ClownsLikeMe.com is about as easy as it can possibly be. Then you can go to Telecharge, you can grab your tickets, and then you can get
Yep.
down there and see the show. But you have till August, so get your tickets to make sure you see. It's the perfect summer. What's like better than having a slice of pizza in New York City and a little drink, a cocktail, a moment, and go see some art.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Much
Thank
love to Jonathan DeMar. He's brilliant, and I love that. And I can't wait to be in the theater, and I can't wait to see what you all are up to.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.